Ladies and gentlemen, when you step back the right way, something powerful happens in his mind. This isn't about playing games or disappearing to make him panic. This is about shifting the emotional balance so he begins to feel the weight of losing you, not through drama, but through absence of overgiving. Most people think closeness creates commitment, but psychology shows that value is often realized in space. When you stop being constantly available, his mind finally gets room to think, reflect, and feel. Creating calm emotional distance without disappearing is about changing energy, not cutting contact. It means you remain kind, present, and respectful, but you stop filling every silence, solving every emotional gap, and carrying the connection on your shoulders. You no longer rush to reply just because you can. You no longer adjust your entire schedule around his availability. This shift is subtle, but the mind feels it immediately. The dynamic changes from certainty to awareness, and awareness is where attachment grows. When you step back calmly, you are not punishing him or trying to provoke a reaction. You are simply allowing him to experience the relationship without your constant emotional reinforcement. Many men grow comfortable when they sense that a woman will always be there, no matter how little effort they give. Calm distance interrupts that comfort. It introduces space for thought, memory, and emotional evaluation. He starts noticing moments where your presence used to be automatic, and the absence of that automatic access creates contrast. This kind of distance feels safe, not threatening. You still respond, but with intention instead of urgency. You still care, but you don't over-explain your feelings or seek reassurance. This signals emotional maturity and self-control, two traits the subconscious strongly associates with long-term partnership. His nervous system relaxes because there is no pressure, yet his mind stays engaged because something has shifted. Calm distance also restores polarity. When you stop chasing emotional closeness, he naturally moves toward it. This is not manipulation, it's balance. Relationships lose spark when one person does all the emotional work. By stepping back, you allow him to step forward. His effort becomes voluntary, and voluntary effort carries far more emotional weight than effort given under pressure. As days pass, he begins to feel the difference internally. Conversations feel different. The emotional tone changes. He starts wondering what you're doing, how you're feeling, and whether you're still as available as before. Because you didn't disappear, there is no anger or resentment, only curiosity and reflection. His mind fills the space you created with thoughts of you, replaying interactions, sensing the value that was once quietly carrying the connection. This calm distance communicates self-worth without words. It tells him that your life is full and emotionally grounded. It removes the illusion that he has unlimited time to decide. Without ultimatums or demands, the space itself becomes the message. His attachment grows not through constant closeness, but through the realization that your presence is meaningful, steady, and not guaranteed in the way it once felt. Stopping overgiving and allowing effort to come from him begins with recognizing how much emotional labor you've been quietly providing. Overgiving often looks like always checking in first, always being available to listen, always smoothing over awkward moments, and always adjusting your needs so the connection stays comfortable. When this becomes the norm, he unconsciously learns that the relationship survives without his full participation. By pulling back from overgiving, you don't become distant, you become balanced. When you stop filling every emotional gap, space opens for him to step into that role. At first, this can feel uncomfortable because silence and pauses feel unfamiliar. But those pauses are important. They give his mind a chance to notice what you used to do without being asked. When you no longer remind him, rescue conversations, or keep the emotional flow alive on your own, responsibility naturally shifts. His effort becomes necessary, not optional. Letting effort come from him means you respond rather than initiate constantly. You allow him to plan, to reach out, to ask questions, and to invest attention. This is not about testing him or withholding affection. It's about restoring a natural rhythm where both people contribute. When effort comes freely from him, it carries emotional meaning. The brain values what it works for because effort creates attachment through investment. As you reduce overgiving, you also reduce emotional exhaustion. You stop trying to prove your value through sacrifice. Instead of explaining yourself repeatedly or over-communicating feelings, you trust that someone who wants to understand you will make the effort. This quiet confidence shift is how he perceives you. You move from someone who is always accommodating to someone who is self-respecting and emotionally grounded. Over time, he begins to feel the difference. He notices that access to your energy now requires intention. He feels the need to step up, not because you demanded it, but because the relationship no longer runs on your effort alone. This activates his sense of contribution and responsibility. Commitment grows when a man feels like a participant, not a passenger. Allowing him to invest also deepens his emotional bond. Every message he sends first, every plan he makes, every moment he chooses to show up reinforces his attachment. The more he invests, the more he values the connection. By stepping back from overgiving, you give him the opportunity to build that bond himself through his actions, his choices, and his growing sense that what he is investing in truly matters. Shifting focus back to your own life and purpose changes the entire emotional dynamic without a single conversation. When your attention is no longer centered on monitoring his moods, responses, or availability, your energy becomes lighter and more grounded. This isn't about pretending to be busy or creating distractions. It's about genuinely reconnecting with the parts of your life that existed before the relationship became the main emotional focus. Your routines, goals, friendships, passions, and personal growth begin to matter again. And that shift is deeply felt. When you re-engaged in your own life, you naturally stop waiting. You stop counting messages, checking timelines, and interpreting small changes in behavior. This creates emotional independence, which is highly attractive because it signals stability. A person who has direction and fulfillment doesn't unconsciously pressure others to fill emotional gaps. That absence of pressure allows space for desire to grow rather than obligation. As your focus shifts inward, your conversations change. You bring new energy, new perspectives, and a sense of momentum. You are no longer seeking validation through his attention, and that subtly raises your value in his eyes. People are drawn to those who are building something meaningful for themselves. It awakens curiosity and respect because it shows that your life is not on pause waiting for someone else to decide your future. Focusing on your purpose also resets boundaries. You become clearer about how much time and energy you are willing to give. You don't overshare or over-explain because your emotional world feels full. This balance makes interactions more intentional and less reactive. He senses that you are choosing to spend time with him, not needing to, and that distinction changes how seriously he takes the connection. When a man notices that you are emotionally fulfilled without depending on him, it triggers a desire to be part of that life rather than the center of it. He begins to see you as a partner, not just a source of comfort or ate. John, your independence makes him feel that commitment is a choice he must step into, not something that will automatically happen while he takes his time. This shift also protects your self-respect. You stop bending your goals, values, or plans around uncertainty. You invest in yourself, and that investment shows in your confidence, tone, and presence. The more aligned you become with your own purpose, the more natural it feels to step back from chasing clarity or reassurance. Your calm focus sends a powerful message without words, creating a dynamic where he feels drawn to move closer because your life feels rich, grounded, and worth being part of. Removing pressure and allowing space for reflection changes how his mind processes the connection. Pressure often shows up in subtle ways, through repeated questions about the future, emotional explanations meant to gain clarity, or reactions driven by fear of losing him. Even when intentions are pure, pressure creates resistance. When you remove it, his nervous system relaxes. He no longer feels evaluated or rushed, and that calm environment allows genuine feelings to surface naturally. Space for reflection is not created by silence alone, but by emotional neutrality. You stop trying to steer the relationship toward a specific outcome through conversations or emotional intensity. Instead of seeking constant reassurance, you let moments breathe. This gives his mind time to catch up with his emotions. Feelings deepen when they are not forced. When a man has room to think without being cornered, he begins to evaluate the connection on his own terms. Without pressure, he starts noticing his own attachment. The absence of emotional demands makes him more aware of what he feels when you are not actively pulling him closer. He begins to ask himself questions internally. Why does this feel different now? Why do I miss her presence more? This internal dialogue is powerful because it comes from within, not from something you said. Allowing space also shifts responsibility. When you are no longer guiding the relationship forward with expectations, he has to decide whether he wants to move closer. That decision carries weight because it is voluntary. Commitment that grows from free choice is stronger than commitment formed to relieve tension or avoid conflict. His reflection becomes deeper because the option to walk away is real, not emotionally blocked by pressure. As time passes, the space you allow becomes meaningful. He starts associating you with peace instead of emotional strain. Conversations feel lighter, more enjoyable, and more sincere. The lack of urgency makes your presence feel safe, while the space makes it feel valuable. This combination allows his emotions to settle and organize rather than stay reactive. When a man reflects in a pressure-free environment, his imagination becomes involved. He starts picturing future moments naturally without being asked. He considers what it would feel like to lose the connection or to make it permanent. These thoughts emerge quietly but powerfully. By removing pressure and trusting the space, you allow his mind to move toward commitment as a solution to emotional uncertainty rather than as a response to demands. Letting absence trigger fear of loss and commitment is not about disappearing or creating insecurity through manipulation. It's about allowing him to feel the natural, emotional consequence of reduced access to you. When your presence is no longer constant and predictable, his mind begins to register the possibility of losing you. This realization doesn't come from drama or confrontation, but from a quiet shift in availability that changes how he experiences the connection. Fear of loss is one of the strongest emotional motivators in the human brain. Desire is powerful, but the fear of losing something meaningful activates deeper attachment systems. When you step back with grace, his mind starts comparing how life felt with your consistent presence versus how it feels now. That contrast creates emotional awareness. He begins to recognize the value you brought into his life, not because you reminded him, but because its absence is felt. As the absence settles in, his thoughts naturally return to you. He replays conversations, remembers how you made him feel understood, supported, and calm. The mind tends to idealize what feels slightly out of reach. Because you didn't leave abruptly or create conflict, there is no anger blocking these thoughts. Instead, there is curiosity mixed with concern. He wonders whether you are still there emotionally or slowly moving on. This is where commitment begins to take shape. Commitment is often a response to uncertainty. When a man senses that access to you is no longer guaranteed, he starts seeking ways to secure the connection. Marriage, in this context, is not about tradition or pressure, but about emotional safety. It becomes a way to prevent loss rather than a step taken to please someone else. Absence also shifts power back into balance. You are no longer the one waiting, hoping, or asking for clarity. He becomes the one feeling the gap. This reversal is subtle but impactful. It changes his internal position from observer to participant. The relationship no longer feels like something happening to him, but something he must actively choose to protect. By allowing absence to exist without explanation, you communicate confidence and self-worth. You show that your life continues to move forward regardless of his decisions. This makes the possibility of losing you feel real. When the fear of loss meets genuine emotional attachment, the mind looks for permanence. Commitment becomes the natural answer to closing the emotional distance, restoring stability, and ensuring that what feels rare, meaningful, and irreplaceable does not slip away.